We might need to get some security out here again. Hell, bring the NYPD back. Haliburton and Brunson with a stare down.
Wow, isn't that fitting? The rematch that's been brewing. Jalen Brunson, the Knicks, will face Tyrese Haliburton, the Pacers, in the Eastern Conference Finals starting Wednesday. Last year, Indiana got the best in New York, winning 4-3 in the semis, but teams weren't at full strength then. So the Pacers and the Knicks are facing off in the conference finals for the 4th time, which is tied for the most meetings in the conference finals between opposing teams since conferences were established in the 70s. The Pacers have won 3 straight postseason meetings against the New York Knicks. Stephen A., you're a thespian. I know you love the drama. So let's talk storyline, sir. You also worked for a newspaper as a columnist for a long time, so you certainly know how to drum it up. Essay, tell me what is the most intriguing Eastern Conference finals storyline?
I would honestly have to say to you, I mean, it's relatively simplistic when you think about Haliburton and Jalen Brunson. I mean, we can bring up the other names. I mean, if this were the finals, for example, and it was Minnesota versus New York, which I think most people would love, it wouldn't just be Ant-Man. It would be the Karl Anthony Towns, Julius Randle angle, since they were swapped essentially for one another. And so you would look at it from that standpoint. In this particular instance, considering the greatness of Jalen Brunson compared to a guy in Tyrese Haliburton, who I believe the Knicks should have drafted years ago instead of Obi Toppin. No disrespect to Obi Toppin, but the New York Knicks didn't have a point guard at the time. And I thought they needed Haliburton, ladies and fellas. And so that was my thinking. But Haliburton was just recently named overrated by several of his peers. And what does he do? And in the aftermath of all of that, his daddy embarrassed himself by acting the way that he did against Giannis. By the way, as an aside, I don't have a problem with his father being allowed back in the arena. The man apologized, and we are the land of second chances. He was wrong, but I think we should have some compassion for him at this point because his son is doing special things. But that's an aside. Having said that, Haliburton has played lights out when it counts in these playoffs. And for the Mecca, Madison Square Garden, to be the big stage, for Jalen Brunson to be a bona fide superstar in this game, the clutch player of the year and a closer, to be going up against Haliburton and wondering who's going to close the deal for a chance to play for the championship, I think is clearly the storyline of this series.
Yeah. And you're looking at dynamic clutch point guards, right? Like, that's where the centerpiece of this series rests. Now, I'm a little bit curious about the matchup in the post, Miles Turner and Karl Anthony Towns, but these are sort of secondary and ancillary stories. I also think that there's a worthy call out to the action on the wings. I think Andrew Nembhard, Aaron Nesmith, Ben Mathurin was hurt last year. We talk about the Knicks injuries, but the Pacers had some injuries as well, versus the wings of the New York Knicks, who were put together to stop Boston. Well, they've cleared that hurdle, and I think those guys deserve a ton of respect in terms of how the Pacers are playing ball. So the centerpiece is definitely your point guards. And in fact, I think the series rests in how well both of them play, but there are a lot of other great matchups to pick and choose from. Not to mention Pascal Siakam, OG Anunoby. Like, this is going to be a lot of fun.
Marcus?
And I agree. I would think I would have to take the stance of the different styles of basketball, right? Like, that's where I'm at, where, like, you have an Indiana team that's based on their depth. They're based on playing together. They're based on other guys playing well, right? Like, they hang their hat on the entire team playing well. Then you have the Knicks on this side where they got ISO guys, right? They got guys that's trying to get a bucket with Towns and JB. It's definitely going to be interesting to see because I think the league is focusing on and seeing, like, what dynamic actually can work. Like, do we go into the way where we build a strong, solid team where we can go 10 deep, right, or 9 deep, or do we take the Knicks way where we play 5 really, and we might got 1 or 2, maybe 3 guys we might play sporadically. So I think that, like, if I'm a GM or if I'm a coach or a president, I'm kind of like looking at the difference of style of play, right? Like, because let's be frank, Pacers have done really well with that style. And a lot of teams don't play like that. They don't have a team where 10 guys can get it, 10 guys are playing at a high level, and the Knicks are doing really well with just playing their top 5 guys all the minutes and telling them to go out there and play 45 and get it done, right? So I think the dynamic of both teams is really what I'm looking to see. Which one stands out the most?
No, that's interesting. And Indy's pace as well. All right, guys, let's get to the brunt of it right now. And I'm coming to you,
Here we go, Molly.
Superstar, box office, I'm talking big time. Are Hallie and Brunson already NBA superstars?
Huh.
No.
You know, okay, yeah, go,
Brunson
SA.
is. Brunson is, not Haliburton. He's not there yet. He's not there yet. He is not overrated. Haliburton is not overrated. He can play and he can close, and I give him mad credit for that. But he's not a superstar. When you consider the undersized Brunson, the load that he carries, because the New York Knicks, offensively, we've seen them do some good things, but one would argue when you consider the offensive efficiency of the Indiana Pacers and the multitude of bodies that they have, the depth that they have, Haliburton isn't asked to do as much to carry their offense as Jalen Brunson does for the New York Knicks. And to have that load on the biggest stage and to answer the call the way that he has, averaging 36 a game after losses in the postseason, doing what he has done for the New York Knicks since he has arrived. I don't know if you know this, Monica or Marcus, but did y'all know that in the 3 years Jalen Brunson has been in New York City, do you know he is the leading scorer in the postseason, averaging 30 a game over these 3 years? Yeah. This is who he is. So, and to be the clutch player of the year, to be a closer, he is clearly a superstar in this game. And I have to say that because, damn it, I didn't think that he was worthy of being drafted.
I remember that.
You understand? That's right. He reminds me every time he sees me, Monica. Every time he sees me, he reminds me. You know, it's all love. He got me. He's right. Because I was like, I thought he could be in the NBA, but I was like, I didn't see him as a draft pick. And the first round, as I was talking about, he tried to say draft pick. I was talking about first round. But nevertheless, he deserves it. He has earned it. The brother is special. There's no doubt about it. Haliburton makes noise and deserves our respect, but he's not a superstar.
So shout out to our producer, Kwaku, because I was really agonizing over this one. I agree with you, SA, but I wanted to be fair in terms of accomplishments, right? Sure. Jalen Brunson was second team All-NBA. Hallie was third team last year. I acknowledge, and this is true, and this just may be how it goes in terms of playing for a marquee franchise in the NBA in the world's biggest city, he definitely is experiencing the New York boost, right? There's a global appeal. Both of these guys have been involved with Team USA. I'm inclined to agree with you, but I don't think that the gap is particularly wide. Tyrese Haliburton is absolutely on his way, but I also think when we talk about superstars, and Molly and I were talking about this in the commercial break, the names you rattle off have been in the league for 10 plus years already. Tyrese Haliburton was drafted in 2020. Jalen Brunson was drafted in 2018. Like, I think he still has time to sort of earn that label, and obviously Jalen Brunson has plenty of room to continue to add to what is a budding superstar legacy.
To me, superstar is household name. Like, if we went out on the street and asked 10 people, you need to know who the players are.
Yeah. Well, okay, to that end, I would also say commercials. Right, I was about to say
I don't know,
commercials.
Stephen A. I don't know.
Yeah,
if you went out in the middle of the street and I said, who's the star of the Indiana Pacers, you're sure 10 out of 10 are going to know?
I think
Let me call my mama. She's the test.
I think that a lot of people, even if it's due to the questions, I think that Haliburton has become a household name, but Jalen Brunson being on this stage because of what Monica alluded to is definitely a household name. The difference is he's backed it up repeatedly. We've seen Haliburton show up in the fourth quarter and explode with some closing moments, but up to that point had about 7 or 8 points.
Absolutely.
That's not what we see from Jalen Brunson.
I'm with you, Stephen A., but I'm talking about like casual fans. To me, casual fans know Steph Curry. They know LeBron James.
Well, they know Jalen Brunson.
Yeah. But to your point, Stephen A., you know Jalen Brunson because he's playing in New York. Yeah. He's playing on that same stage, which is a great thing, and it's a lot more pressure. So I have to say.
Hôm nay mình sẽ hướng dẫn các bạn cách làm một chiếc vòng đeo tay đơn giản từ len nhá. Nguyên liệu đây nhá, mình sẽ sử dụng 3 màu sắc len như thế này để làm này. Cam, hồng và xanh nhá, sẽ kết hợp 3 màu sắc này lại với nhau. Sử dụng kim móc len để làm nha mọi người. Kéo nữa. Rồi giờ sẽ bắt tay vào làm. Đầu tiên thì mình dùng cái phần len xanh này trước. Mình gỡ len ra để sử dụng nhé. Giờ sẽ đo vào tay. Đo nhá. Được một cái mảnh như thế này. Giờ sẽ chập làm đôi và sẽ móc vào đây một cái nút thắt. Đây, móc nối vào đây, siết dây lại. Và bây giờ mình sẽ móc xuống những cái mũi bính kép nha. Mình móc những mũi bính kép xuống. Đây, móc xuống đây. Đấy, móc lần lượt từng mũi. Tiếp tục móc này. Tiếp tục cứ lần lượt cho mình để được những cái mũi bính kép rất là dày dặn như thế này nhé. Rồi, móc những mũi tiếp theo này. Cứ luân phiên cho đến hết. Tiếp nha mọi người. Mũi tiếp theo nữa.